Okay, so now that we've looked at our toolkit function of the square root, I wanted to do one little extra discussion on solving for squared numbers. So if we had a function y was equal to the square root of x, what we're going to end up seeing is something that looks like this, where it starts at 0 and 0, and then it kind of shoots off to the right. Now, I can also look at a related but not exactly the same equation where I have y squared is equal to x. So I want you to consider what happens when x is equal to 1. And I say that y squared is equal to 1. Well, which values of y work to resolve this equation? So I know that if I have if y equals 1, then 1 squared is equal to 1. So that matches this particular equation. But if I said y was equal to negative 1, then I have negative 1 squared is that's also equal to 1. And so this also resolves that equation. So if I were to choose my x equal to 1, and so let me try to draw that here. If I drew a line and identify this, let's see if I can shift it. Yeah, there we go. So this is what I'm aiming for when my x is equal to 1. Which values of y will work at that point? Well, it's both here and right here. Now I can ask that question for different values all along the way. So if I were to look at 0, for example, the only number that works would be 0. And if I were to look at when does x equal, or when x equals 4, which values of y will resolve that equation y squared is equal to 4? Well, I'm going to end up having y is equal to 2 and y is equal to negative 2. So you'll notice in this case that if I were to draw what this map looks like, and I'm using the term map to represent any kind of a graph that doesn't necessarily have to be a function, it would look like this. So it's not a function because it does not pass the vertical line test. If I draw my vertical line here, there are 2 places where it hits, and it should only hit 1 place if it's going to be a function. But it does solve this equation, this y squared is equal to x. So if I wanted to ask you, if I know that y squared is equal to x, then what should y equal? It's natural to want to say that y should equal the square root, because it sounds like, or it seems like, the square root and the y squared would kind of be opposite to each other, especially when you look at them as like if this is a fractional exponent to that one. But in this case, if you're solving for a number that's squared, what you're really doing is taking like one copy of the square root, the plus copy, and you're saying it could be that, or it could also be the negative side, that negative copy of it. So you say plus or minus. So if y squared equals x, then y is equal to plus or minus the square root of x. So if you're solving for a squared number, you're not working with something that looks like a function, but if you want to get all of the values that match this equation, then this is what you're going to have to use, that plus and minus symbol.